The Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office celebrates Black History Month and wraps up our month-long series by speaking with those who share their favorite memories and thoughts on the storied career of Wesley Mayo Sr.
What sticks out to me was actually a sad and proud story when Sergeant Pat King was killed in Long Branch. And, you know, my father was big on drill. And the honor guard for his funeral, I saw my father standing on the top of a fire truck, and there was thousands of officers that he commanded, you know, to come attention. And I just looked at my father and just cried. You know, it's like I was just so proud, you know, of how he handled that, his presence, his humility, and his honor. You know, that was a great story, you know, for me at a sad time.
One of the things I always remember about Mr. Mayo is it could be 3 feet of snow, we could have a terrible work day, a lot of volume of work, you know, name it. Things could be just going sideways, and he'll always have a big bright smile on his face. He'll find a way to find that silver lining, and I think that's something that we all could remember, especially me. When I come in and I'm having a tough day, or I'm carrying a lot, that's a lesson that you can take to the bank, is just remember there's always a silver lining, and this too shall pass, and step back and make sure you realize how good things are in the overall picture. And it's a great life lesson, one that I use every day, you know, so he's taught me that. That's just one of a million stories I could tell you about Mr. Mayo.
Also, I'd like to just mention a story that pops in my mind when I think about Captain Mayo. When you're in the police academy, if you don't do something correctly, properly, or, you know, by the rules, you get demerits. So, you know, everybody gets demerits if you forgot something, didn't have a pencil, didn't have the right color socks for PT. It could be a number of things that you got demerits for. But I was fortunate. I never received any demerits until I was pretty much almost through with the academy. And I was standing in the cafeteria on a break, and I had my hands in my pockets. And we're taught that police officers don't stand in public with their hands in their pockets. So Captain Mayo came up to me, he said, "Johnson," he said, "5 demerits." I said, "But sir, respectfully, sir, I'm not outside, I'm in the break room." And he just looked at me with a stern look and kind of a smile and said, "Just give me the 5 demerits." And I learned a little while after that they said no one makes it through the academy without any demerits. So almost did, and he taught me a lesson. You know, I knew not to put my hands in my pockets, but he got me in the cafeteria that day.
This job, being with the prosecutor's office, was one of the most interesting jobs I've ever had. Just working with people and being part of this organization. And I put a lot of time in it, but I enjoy it. It's not, this to me isn't like a job. It's my hobby. I make this my hobby. Just interacting with people, it's a lot of fun to me. And a lot of people say, well, you get so involved in it. But I like doing it, why not? It is something that keeps me going. At my age, it keeps me focused, it keeps me energized, and it keeps me going. And at that point, why would you leave something that does that to you, that keeps you going? Why leave that?
And the guy just ingratiates himself to everybody. Everybody loves him. He's like the mayor around here, let me tell you. He really is. So it's been a great honor and privilege for me to get to know him. I consider him a dear friend. I take his advice very, very seriously. And I hope he stays for another 40.
I don't mean to get cosmic with this, but the people that we tend to idolize or be impressed by, people in public life or even historical figures, you know, you can have greatness. Greatness can be in the next cubicle, in the next desk, and that's the case with Wesley. Wesley has great people skills. He likes people. I think he finds people interesting, and people like him.
My father, you know, and a lot of people say it, is that he likes to personalize his relationship with people. That he's only dealing with you. He's always had that gift, and and I always wanted to learn that. is that, you know, as I said, you're a man of your word, you're honorable, and you do what you say you're going to do.
Just once again, I can't speak enough about his guidance, telling us, teaching us, helping to teach us the laws in a manner, the way you conduct yourself, the way you stand on the street, the way you speak to citizens, the way you are respectful with citizens, and you'll receive that respect back. He touched all of us in that way. He motivated us to want to progress, move forward in your career. You wanted to make Captain Mayo proud of you, and I could say that you could speak to anybody who came in contact with Captain Mayo, and I know that they would echo the same sentiments. They would say that he influenced them greatly just by, you know, his experience, but also he's a kind-hearted person that truly wants to see young guys, young women make it in the law enforcement career.
People. Sometimes you take people like Wesley for granted. Sometimes there are people in our lives, and I imagine anybody's life. It's always pleasant, you know, or fun to see him. Every time you see him, you know, there's a smile or a laugh, and in our case, we laugh every day. You know, sometimes at each other.
There are some, and not just here, but in any employment. When you have your first job and then you go and might retire or finish there, you move on to a second career in some sort. Some people might tend to take their foot off the gas, if you know what I mean. I've never seen that once with Mr. Mayo. I mean, he's you know, finished up jobs, as I mentioned, the police academy and municipal police departments, but he has never treated this as like a, you know, a secondary job or his retirement job, if you know what I mean. And he brings it every single day, and he brings it through, you know, whatever ailments or pain or difficulty in the weather, you name it. I mean, he's a real gentleman. He's a throwback, I got to tell you. I think part of that is generational, but obviously a big part of that is who he is, how he was raised, what kind of person, what kind of standards and ethics he holds himself to. And it boils down to integrity. And he has taken that integrity and he's not only spread it amongst his family, which we have benefited personally from, but also to people he touches and works with, many of which work in this office. I think if you ask anybody else, and I know you've been interviewing folks, they'll tell you he's a pillar, and that's the best I can say, is he is a pillar in Monmouth County law enforcement, and certainly one here at the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
And you know, there's a lot of things that my father did behind the scenes that I found out many years ago. That, you know, during Thanksgiving time, he would pick, you know, 25 to 30 families that no one knew about, and my mother and father would deliver Thanksgiving dinner to them to cook, and they did that for years. They would, you know, clothe people. They would talk to people, would counsel people. There's endless stories, you know, that I hear from people, you know, how my father did certain things for them that no one even knew about. And, you know, you always say if you were half the man that your father was, you'd be all right. And it's true, you know, I still have a lot to learn, you know, and I'm very fortunate my father's still here to teach me some of those things.
I have no regrets. I have no regrets in what I've done and what I can keep doing. I have no regrets at all. And going into a law enforcement field, that's why I have no problem with trying to influence a person to become a part of a law enforcement situation. I have no problem at all.